Let's explore these settings in TrainingPeaks Virtual and see what they do to your ride. But I still think one setting feels kind of unnecessary. To access the settings, you go into Options and then to Trainer Settings. And here you see the settings. What we're going to test today is slope feel, brake feel, wind feel, and the virtual gears. As a default, all the settings are on 50%. I've tried out the brake feel on max, so that's why it is on max right now, but I will put it on default, that is 50%. And slope feel is sort of like trainer difficulty in Swift. So having the slider at 50% means that the 10% hill will feel like a 5% hill. The brake feel is how the braking force will be applied on the trainer. So 100% brake feel means that the maximum brake resistance will be applied. Wind feel is how the wind will affect the ride. Having it at 0% means there are no wind considerations, but having it at 100% and you will definitely feel the both headwind and tailwind. And the virtual gears is a way to change the range of the cassette. So maybe you're riding with an 1128, 1125, you're going in a very mountainous route. You can get some easier gearing when spinning up the hills. And as well, if you're riding with a single speed on the trainer, you can basically create a cassette for that bike. And something that is also really common is having a single chain ring in the front, maybe a 46 or something. And then you can make sure that you don't spin out on downhills, as well as get easier gearing on the uphills. And as TrainingPeaks Virtual also describe it, it is also a way to get a optimum chain line with using the virtual gears. And up on the bike and start riding. So it's a bit of a lead in until I get to the hills. So just spin around. Let's fast forward a bit. And starting to go uphill, 7% right now. just spinning around. Usually my optimum cadence going uphill is around 70 RPMs. Now 10%, spinning at 65, 66 RPMs, riding 50% on the slope feel. So I am still being able to spin quite easily. Well, it is quite taxing now, down on 60, but yeah, it's okay. Yeah, so that's okay. Now I think I'm gonna stop and change the setting to 100%. And what I have also done is put brake feel and wind feel to 0 for this test of the slope feel, to not have it affect the ride. Yeah, so now on 100% and start riding. So now I'm spinning up 9%, and right now I'm on the smallest chainring in the front, which is 36. So right now I'm on 36, 23 or 24 something, and it's quite taxing on the legs now. Spinning around at 40, now up about 50 RPMs, but it's quite hard. So change the gears a bit and going down to the easiest on the cassette, which is now I am riding on 3630. Now it's, yeah, it feels quite comfortably right now, riding on the easiest gear, up 7%. Now 8. 10%. Now it feels really taxing on the legs, but still managed to spin up 12%. Now it's quite heavy on the I can see a noticeable drop on the RPMs. So on 12% and I couldn't manage to go on like this for a very long time. And now I'm almost at the top of this small hill. Gonna go into the trainer settings and change the brake feel. Put it on 50%. And we're gonna try the braking force, because there will be a slight downhill with some switchbacks coming up. And now do a right turn at the going downhill now. So we will see when the avatar starts to brake, the brake lights go on like it did right there. And then the braking the braking force will be applied. Right now at 50%, I feel a slight force on the trainer being applied, but not too heavy. But still I'm going downhill, so that's will help quite some. And gotten down from the downhill. I think I'm gonna do a U-turn and try it again, but this time with 100% brake feel. But yeah, so here I'm going down again, and now I have brake feel 100%. So I'm going up to a turn here and starting to brake and brake. And here I can really feel the resistance on 100%, especially after the turn and starting pedaling again. The resistance is quite noticeable. So there's 2 settings tried, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please considering do that. Would be really appreciated and also helpful to the channel. Now let's get back to the testing and let's try wind feel. And stopped again to try out the next setting. So go into the trainer settings, or actually I will end the ride to try the wind feel and try to find some route with quite heavy wind, because on this route the wind seems to be 3-4 kilometers per hour, so not too heavy wind. And as you can see up in the corner of the graph, you can see the wind on that route right now. So we can see that almost the entire world it's 3 or 4 kilometers per hour wind right now, so not that heavy wind, and actually you can't feel the wind resistance that much with these kinds of winds. But I chose a route at least. Turn the wind feel, the brake feel down to 50%, or yeah, well, we put it way down to 0% so it doesn't affect the ride, and put the wind feel on 50%. I always get amazed by the, always, but the times I've ridden, I get amazed by the quick loading times of the different routes. So wind feel 50%. Right now it isn't that much. Well, it is a headwind, so we have 3 km/h headwind. Doesn't feel that much. So I will actually change it to 100% to see the difference right away. It's a smart move, don't you think? We have some wind. So wind feel 100%. Turn. Okay. So what it was that the 3 or 4 km/h headwind was actually feeling like a 1.5 to 2 km/h headwind, and that's, well, not much of a headwind. Now it is spooky. Lights come on and go. So now it is 4 km/h headwind, and I don't feel much difference actually, and that's the thing, I guess. 4 km/h wind isn't that much. Still, what is it? 4 km/h. That's 4,000 meters per hour. I don't want to do any math on the bike. So the wind feel is a bit sketchy to try out actually, but when I have ridden, when I had about 9-10 km/h wind, I felt quite a difference when riding with the wind, with the tailwind or headwind. So we will stop and I will try out the virtual gears. Training settings, and here I will check mark this, always show virtual gears, so then you get the visual gearing on the screen. For the total virtual gears, you can go down to 10 extra gears up to 50 extra gears. And going back, then we can see the icon between the riding stats and the map up in the screen. We can see something that looks like a chain line between the big chain ring and the small cassette, and it says +0. So that's the virtual gears. And right now I don't use any virtual gears. And to start using them, I can get the small menu, and if I click plus, then I will go to the upper gears, and minus I go down to easier gears. So plus shifts up and minus shifts down. What you can also do is using the plus and minus if you have a keyboard connected, like I'm having the computer to ride with, and I use the plus or minus to go up and down. You can also use game controllers and now I go to the opposite direction using the minus key and to -6, and it gets noticeably easier. I don't know what -6 really correlates to, talking gear ratio. But as the settings are right now, I can only go down to -6. And that is also what TrainingPeaks Virtual is telling you, that you have fewer easier gears than you have harder gears. So you can go to the minus side less steps than you can do on the plus side. And here I just chosen another route with this, where there is just one mountain, and I'm gonna try the gearing and going to easier gears. So riding 9% here, and now I go down to the max with this, which is -6. And we can see the RPM is quite low, so it's quite a resistance on the legs right now going up. So back in the settings, I can see that I'm on the lowest gear that I can manage. But if I use the total virtual gears up to 50, then I get a couple of more easier gears also. So as we can see, I can go down to -12 right now. And that's the easiest virtual gear I can get. And now on 9%, I'm still on quite a low cadence going up. And now I'm spinning at 45 to 50 RPMs on 10% hill. My theory or my thought about that the slope feel would be unnecessary. Well, as it is now, it isn't unnecessary, of course, because it's a bigger difference between 50% slope feel and 100% slope feel than it is between 0 and -12 on virtual gears. So of course they've done it more that you can have the virtual gears, because if you ride on different kinds of bikes, and of course they could omit the slope feel maybe by doing the virtual gears even easier, but yeah, why not have it like this? It's good because it gives the opportunity for, well, no matter what bike you got, you can ride and using the range of a cassette. Yeah, so there we go. Testing out the settings. It was a bit messy, sorry about that, but yeah, trying to be scientific about it is a bit hard, I guess. And also not be able to try the wind feel totally, but as I said, all the settings have an impact on the ride. So that's nice. And yeah, what do you think of all these settings? How will you use the settings? Will you use it on default 50%, or are you strong as an ox and getting 100% slope feel, for example? Let me know in the comments, and thanks for watching this one. Hope it was a bit helpful at least. So see you on the next one. Ciao! Wow!